G'day everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. That'll be a swing arm. That'll be my lunch. That'll be the XJ650 with a lovely black frame. So by way of catch up to a degree, I painted the frame. I painted a few other bits as well, and I put up some mini updates in the week. You know, question to the body of the Kirk. How is it for you? I've only recently discovered that you can do shorts for a minute. Shorts generally 15 seconds in portrait. I haven't really used it a lot. I don't like using it, frankly. But the 1 minute update I think is quite useful for me. So it's a good mechanism, I think, to just chuck out what I get up to in the week without doing a big retrospective on a weekend of I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, which I'm still going to do to a degree, but nowhere near as much. What do you think? I've tried banging out a few pictures, some shorts in the week. Don't know. Does it work? Does it not work? I'd be really interested in your opinions. I'm still crook to a degree. Doc signed me off work for most of the week, and I've just sat there with my leg elevated above my hip, which means I couldn't really sit on the laptop because that just destroys my back. So I've had a really shit week. Tail end of which, mostly yesterday and kind of in the evenings, I've done little bits and pieces. By little bits and pieces, yesterday evening, I painted the frame. I also cut down the mudguard. Now it's rough as you like. It is. I've got April showers going on, which doesn't help. It's as rough as you like. It's still the dodgy mudguard. I've de-rusted it. It's still got, rust divots in it, but it's all been rust treated, so it's not going to come through. Rust-proof paint, etc., etc. But it's just to make that back end a bit more solid. I'm not entirely sure if it needed it, frankly. But I've now trimmed down the seat, which I think I put out an upload before. That's now sitting on top, and it was to give it some strength at the back as much as anything else, and really to give me some anchor points. I didn't want to start belting too much into the frame, because ultimately I'm going to end up weakening it. So that's on. That said, you'd have to put 2 rivet nut bolts, little ones in the side, as small as I could do, just to hold that in place, and that is rock solid. But it does mean that I can pin down through that whole seat. But that's all on the side. What I want to start doing now is trying to get the bike ready to get the frame, the engine back in it, which could happen very shortly, could happen in the next day or so. I have sorted out the centre stand and the side stand. That's now painted and mounted. Took longer than it should because I couldn't find the bolts. Particularly stupid thing to do. And I'm just about to try and get the forks back in. Now, I've done nothing with the forks. I have clean, painted, greased, etc. The bottom and top yoke, triple tree, whatever you want to call it. So that's all considerably better. Although indeed that was in one of the updates. It's literally hand tight, tagged in at the moment. I'm just going to get the forks and bang them in. I haven't touched them at all. Probably the wrong thing to do. I should strip them, get them all fixed, etc., etc. I want to get the bike back together, partly to see whether or not my engine works, but I want it back together, and then I will find myself taking stuff off and finishing it. Now I know that's balls, and you just strip it and work your way fundamentally through it, but I just can't do that. For one, I haven't got the patience, but for two, I haven't got the skill. I need to make sure that engine works. Never taken an engine apart before. I want to get it back in. I'm even considering whether or not I poke around with the electrics yet, or whether or not I just put the loom back on as was, check it all works and everything, strip it off, clean it. I know that's a bit arse about face, but I'm just not confident enough in my own abilities. I've not been doing this long enough. I'm utterly untrained, etc., etc. But let me get the forks. I'm going to get the front forks in, which means I've got some stability, because at the moment it's resting on my fresh paintwork, which I'm not happy with. I'm also pretty adamant there's bits that I've missed that I've not been able to get to because it's, you know, a pain in the ass. Weather doesn't help, but you know, can't change it, and I'm just a tit in the shed. I don't have fully functional paint bays or workspace, etc. I could wheel the bike out and do it that way, but I just can't be bothered as much as anything else. You know, I'm a garage tinkerer and now more. So I'm going to grab those forks and chuck them in. Right, there we go. I've put bars on it, Matt. It makes it easier to move, frankly. Albeit those bars are pretty hideous, way too long. Proper bars are still up proper. The bars I have been using, which again themselves are temporary ones, are up there with all of these switch gears still on them. But what I want is to work out a way of sorting this stuff out. Right, I've got the something stand on. Now I've got something like a pivot on. Oh, fucking hard with a dodgy leg. Ow, that hurt. Look at that, it's starting to look like a bike again. I need to get the rear swing arm back on, which means I need to put it together first. But what I might just do is wait until this dodgy patch of weather passes. And see how we go. Just removing trying to remove the masking tape from the shocks mount. Looks quite sporty with its arse up like that, doesn't it? Now obviously it says obviously. It's not going to be at that angle, it's going to be with the wheel on the front wheel on. It's going to be more like that. But let's see, shall we? Might actually make some sense to chuck the front wheel back on now. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Obviously I haven't torqued anything up at all. Nor do I intend to at the moment. It's literally, you know, hand tight plus holding it together now, because if I get the front wheel on it, it starts to hack it down. It means I can wheel it into the garage if nothing else, doesn't it? Right, see if I can find all my bits. Right, so I think I've found all the bits. Ah, fuck it. My leg hurts. Must stop reaching. So speedo drive on the far side. See, I've taken the cable off. Just got to make sure that I need the lugs on the inside, otherwise that's not going to go in flat. I'm not sure I'm actually hitting here. Right, so this could be interesting. So, check which way that goes through. It goes through the other way, you fucking dickhead. So, yep. So through, spacer, onto the wheel. Bearing looks okay. But don't get distracted by that, Matt. You're not looking at that yet. Just going to start to hack it down just in time. Wonderful. I'm going to grab some axle stands. One at least. Just as the heavens open. Wonderful. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. Out some gentle encouragement. And that goes on that spine. And there's my encourager. There we go. Washer and a crown nut. I'm not going to bother with a split pin at the moment because this is going to come on and off a good few times, I would imagine. No. Oh, I'm not Bell Voice, I can't guess the right bolt first time. That's a big one. Gone. Right, front wheel on. Let's look up this swing arm. But we're starting to get what looks like a bike. Let's have a look at the profile. Sorry, let's have a look at the profile. That's better. That's so much better. Sweet. Although it does look like centre stand. Centre stand's fine. Right, let's work out this swing arm. Right, and much later, the weather's been on and off. It's been chucking it down and then sunshine. So I've just kind of cracked on. Then my battery ran out, which wasn't great. But I've got swing arm on, wheel on, shocks on, holding up the swing arm. I'm having issues with one bolt at the moment, but that's fine. Frankly, it just probably needs to be off the stand for it. But I thought I'd join you pretty live for my first kind of mock-up, I suppose, proper. So let's go seats as is at the moment. Let's find a tank out the back of the garage. what we got. And I think that's looking kind of sweet. Just got to get the fucking engine in it, which is probably going to be the next job. Yeah, I haven't attached the brakes at all. It's literally just so that I can push it in and out the garage as much as anything else. I'm going to have to whack a load of air in the tyres because they are completely flat, but I think that's looking pretty sweet. As far as an idea is concerned, and obviously I've still got the other tank if I change my mind. Yeah, we're getting there, boys and girls, we're getting there. Right, as the ice cream van does his rounds, it's obviously empty because he's playing his music, which means he's run out of ice creams, and that's what we told our kids. I thought I'd chuck on the old one. Quite like it. Don't know. I don't know. What do you think, people? Like that? Or like that? Bit more beef that way. I really like that black stripe down the side. It's not intentional, obviously. That's how it came. I don't know. It's I'm titivating for titivating's sake as much as anything else. One more. I think that's me for this one. I've got a bit of tidying up to do. There's a couple of bits where I haven't, not intentionally, but I haven't. The spray hasn't got to, really. I don't want to say on the underside, but certainly on the back end of that bar, right underneath. It's not visible, but it would be protection. So I'm going to chuck a bit of paint on there and then push the bike away. I've pumped up the tyre so it's a bit more mobile. But yeah, I think I need to dig out the engine mounts. I can't remember where I've put them. They're probably pretty shitty. And then start thinking about how I get the engine back in, either on my own or call for the cavalry. By the cavalry I mean you, Charlie. Yeah, it's not ideal timing for me because of my dodgy leg as much as anything else, but yeah, I think we're getting there. A few bits to tidy up here and there, but looking good. Cheers all. Ta-ra.